Okay, we are live. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are collectively with a couple of other people now, important newer members to the team. We are Green Juju. So my name is Billy. I am the Vice President of Nutrition and Communication, and this is Kelly. She is the Kelly Marion, that the Kelly that you've heard about, who is
I'm
the
gonna do
found
intros one of these days.
who is the founder of Green Juju. And my dog right now is trying to eat my charging cord. So it's great because after you take your dog for a 2 mile walk, they should be crazy and wild around your house, is what I heard. So,
Bambi
it,
just chased me down the hall and down the elevator to get my computer in the car, which I realized I probably needed for this. So
exactly. So, if just to warn you, while people are coming on, and I see people are coming on, so please say hi if you do. Um, if you see me look down and or do things off camera, I am trying to keep this puppy under control. So again, we are Green Juju, and we make the best whole food supplements in the industry. Um, we create products to get the best health outcomes, and we only use full functional ingredients. We don't use certain ingredients to get say a texture in the treat like a gum or something like that. We use full food ingredients, and I think that's very, very important. So we're here today to talk about Green Juju in 2022 and how thankful we are for everyone who is watching this live right now, and for anyone who's used our products, and all of those wonderful, amazing retailers who are the cornerstone of our business. And we're here to not only answer your guys' questions, but to also thank all of you for who you are and why you do what you do, because it's a big part of who we are. So I always tell all of the stores that I go into, and the people who use the products, me and Kelly wouldn't get to do what we love if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much for that. So Kelly, oh, by the way, anyone who's currently watching, if you want to put in your question right now, it's almost guaranteed. He's trying to eat a spider plant now, so he's trying to get his greens in. So I'm just saying that about
you're worse
Huckleberry.
than me when I'm texting,
I'm like, so, well, here's the
which
thing.
is
Like,
always important, by the way.
you know how I am. I literally just took a picture of my dog's food to post on
With the real
Instagram.
camera.
Yes, with the real camera to post on Instagram, and he's now eating a piece of my spider plant, which is there's probably some a range of health benefits there. So, get your questions in now, so we can answer them. But Kelly, my question for you is, what products did we come out with in 2022? Looking back on 2022, what were the products that we came out with? Let's talk about that.
Well, there was the goat's milk, which was kind of an unexpected surprise and also a wonderful addition to the lineup. I've been telling people for years, since I've known you for like a decade, I've always sold goat's milk better than I've sold Green Juju. So it's amazing to be able to talk about them together and have them in our portfolio together. And with the goat's milk, we launched Lua's fermented golden paste and Bam's beets. And then a few months later, we launched our pork pink freeze dried bites.
Which I love. That is like one of my favorite treats. And that was really cool because for me, you had done this really innovative treat line before I got to Green Juju, and then you had pretty much had all of the I guess you could say we did the duck orange together, but I mean, that was right when I came on. So now having this time under our belt,
Mhm.
it was cool to be able to collaborate on that, and to be able to, for me, having stepped into the freeze dried arena, which I'm really happy about, and I'm just happy that people who, even if they're feeding a processed diet, can feed our treats and that kind of thing. Plus, we love the packaging, so that's another part of that as well. In fact, sort of a funny story. My I did a phone update, and my contacts list went to that exact shade of pink. So now I think of the pork pink treats every time I look at my phone.
Wait, for me or for
No,
everything?
just for my contacts, like the button for my contacts
Oh,
on my phone
really?
is that shade of pink now. So I'm always like, oh, pork pink.
I have to
Um,
say it's like one of my career highlights that I was able to make packaging in that exact color.
exactly. So,
Of all the things that I've done, that's one of the highlights.
and to get not to exactly say what it is, but because of the theme of this live and the because I think kind of the purpose of this is to let you guys at home in on the conversations that me and Kelly have almost every day in terms of our vision and where we want to take this company. But we almost did something else, and so other than the pork pink, and so the behind the scenes is always very interesting to me in terms of what actually comes out. If and on that similar note, if you remember when we were talking about what eventually became Bam's Beats, that was multiple other products before it actually became Bam's Beats. And so it's always very, very. I mean, that's my favorite part of the job is coming up with the stuff and R&D and that kind of all of that kind of jazz. And also, I'd be remiss to say because it's called Bam's Beats. People often forget that there is purple cabbage in that product. So it is 50% beets and 50% purple cabbage. And purple cabbage is an amazingly healthy ingredient in terms of its antioxidant content, in terms of its digestive, strengthening of the gut lining. It's just a really good earthy complement to the beets. So I always want to throw that out there. I feel like I should let him on a little bit because he's kind of like off camera here. Buddy, you want to say hi or what? What do you think? He's like, I don't know what's going on. It's huge now, so he is absolutely huge. So, hi to Alexa there in Las Vegas. I'm glad we could bond over sodas. So that was pretty cool. Oh, see, we have two Frenchies now. Bam is slightly smaller than Huckleberry. I think Huckleberry can see Bam. This is like the meeting of the minds. They've never obviously met. So that is hilarious.
He's like, "Can I go back to bed, please?"
So Bam is almost 13
In February.
and Huckleberry is like a year and a half. So he is still a crazy person or a crazy dog. And I will say he's very healthy, even though I was walking him the other day and a woman on the street said that he was a chunker. And I was like, come on.
I would take that so offensively. I remember one time I took Bailey to the vet, like, I don't know, she was like 3 or 4 or something. And my vet told me she was overweight. And I honestly took it like somebody told me I was overweight. I was just like, are you kidding? I was so upset. But
Exactly.
we dialed it back down. It was all
I
right.
didn't, I'm true to being a Midwesterner, so I didn't say anything. I was like, oh yeah, and then just walked off. So it was totally fine. But so let's go back to the goat milk.
Yeah, the goat milk. Yeah.
Yes, let's go back to the goat milk. So that for me was a really, really, obviously it's something I believe in and have believed in, for my entire career. And to be able to bring that type of quality, I mean, my whole goal, and I think something that we can bring to the table is, affordable price and best quality. And it's very, very rare that those two things are matched together in terms of um, in a food product. And I really, really think we achieve that. And I think that our milk is, you're able to come in at whether or not you're like an avid raw feeder and you're making all your food or you're feeding a commercial raw diet and you're doing all these supplements, or you're like our favorite customer to reach and you're feeding a processed diet and you want to add one thing. I really think that we got in at a price point that is great, and also being that it's all human, uh, certified for human consumption in the state of Pennsylvania, that we go through that protocol, that the feed is organic, that they're on pasture, that their enclosures are amazing, and there's a ton of room in there, and that I inspect all the farms. Just very, very proud of that product that we were able to get that, especially out of this region as well, to be able to support the farmers around where I live here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So, anything you would like to add? I know you already said something about the goat milk, but on that note,
Um, not really.
And feel free if I ever say like if there's anything you want to add and you don't, you could just be like, no, I'm good. Um,
I was super excited that I got to go down and see our facility in Oregon recently and make a batch of just greens. It was this, I for years I made it in my 200 square foot kitchen, and like the smell of the vegetables, especially when you put like the turmeric and ginger and lemon in at the end, like it makes me want to cry. I love it so much. But anyways, so I got to go down to the facility and make a batch. I was making it with somebody who I'd never met before. We didn't speak the same language, but we didn't even need words to get it done. And it was just this beautiful like harmony of throwing vegetables in the juicer and just doing the process together. And it was a lot of fun. And it just made me realize how much I love where this company started and what it is. And one of our manufacturing partners had the great idea of making the Just Green smell into a candle, which I seriously think we might need to look into because I would burn it all the time.
oh, it's great. Absolutely. No, that does go back to the heart of it's interesting for me to think about the fact that like when you started this was a concept that was not created yet. And that's where the true innovation really is. And that's I think what brings us together so well is that we both kind of strive for that in terms of, creation. And one of the things that really attracted me to the company in the first place was the fact that it's based on you coming up with such an amazing idea. And now we're seeing through the years all of the science that's coming out to verify what we already knew that
Yeah.
um, whole plants, and especially whole plants like when you process them like we do, where you juice them and then add the pulp back and break down those cell walls, and in the Bailey's blend you can even add some fermentation there to further break them down. So I just think it's so cool, and I think for me too, it's been a real education in, and this is shaking by the way because of the puppy. Just side note, you can see why I'm kind of ADD, right? In the middle of a thought, but I get back to it. I swear, I do. But it really it's been an education for me in terms of uh, plants and plant material, and having my life is nutrition, and it's really when it comes to my nutrition or Maple's nutrition or Huckleberry's nutrition, that's what I think about pretty much all day every day. And so I have been able to kind of dive into this plant world, and for me it's so interesting. I am now keeping um, a list on my phone of all the different plant material foods that Huckleberry eats within a month, so I can just vary that and get an idea of, by the way, it's up to like 32 or something like at this
In
point in
1 month.
December. Yeah.
Nice.
And a lot of that
Wait, in
has a,
December?
yeah, in December. Yeah.
Wow, good
So,
job.
and a lot of that has to do with you get so many through just if I use obviously Green Juju treats. I use all of our blends. He's eating the golden blend right now. So, you get a lot of that through that. And so it's just been really cool to be able to dive into some new information. And I honestly knew that plants were an important part of a dog's diet. And now especially there's more information with cats as well, but I didn't know it was this important. And to the point where I really believe that when I build a diet, so like when I'm building Huckleberry's diet, I the base of it is the higher caloric items, right? Like the meat, the let's say goat milk, the eggs, that base of it, because plant ingredients are not very high in calories. But it's to the point now where I see that the plant ingredients is as important as the meat, as the milk, as that aspect of it. And we know that even in cats now, there was a study that I was looking at, they live uh, had healthier lives and longer lives and better health outcomes when they were getting antioxidants from plants. And so it's just been a really cool way for me to be able to, be educated by you, and to be able to kind of spin off and do my own research, almost like a new jumping off point. Does that make sense? In terms of like, you kind of get to somewhere where you're like, okay, I kind of have this figured out. But that's the cool thing about nutrition and science is you never really have it figured out. I was able to jump off and be like, I texted you a picture. I added some random carrot microgreens to his food because I was like, oh, this is at the market. It's new. It's a new food. Boom,
Yeah.
I'm throwing it in there. And I just do want to remind people while I'm on the subject, feeding our blends and rotating between all of them is the easiest way to make this happen for yourself.
Get 17 plants.
Exactly. And if you're busy people like me and Kelly with family and work and everything that goes along with that, um, it's it's a lifesaver and a godsend to be able to do that. And I do get truly excited every time I get to the newest container. I find myself, I just used through Bailey's blend. And when I start, I'm like, this is my favorite one. I'm good to go. By the end of it, I'm like so excited to get into like um the golden blend. I'm like, no, this is it. This is it for me. I could just use this every time. So yeah, it's cool. So all of that to say,
Oh, go ahead.
it's been a good year.
For me, it's been I mean, like Billy said, you never know everything about nutrition, but like my passion for plants and everything started quite a long time ago. And it's, just been fascinating to me to learn more and more over the years. But I am just kind of by nature more of an introvert. And so I have a hard time conveying this information to other people. And so Billy's kind of like my loudspeaker. And so he actually helps get that information out there for me, which is very exciting because I think I mean, I have this sweatshirt that says Plant Magic. It's actually from a plant-based ice cream store in Seattle, but like plants truly are magic. They really are. I mean, they are healing foods. They are amazing things. And this past year, I think one of the coolest, like if I were to have a top 5, 10 list or whatever, one of the coolest things is that the animal biome study came out and proved how important plants are in a diet, and that a raw fed dog doesn't have as healthy of a microbiome as if they had plants in the diet. And that just really, it really supported what I've been doing for so long. In the beginning, almost 10 years ago, I was walking around a farmer's market with a dog with a giant tumor on her leg and literally had a flyer asking farmers for their seconds so that I could like make a mix for my dog. And it's just come so far to ordering thousands of pounds of produce and distributing across the country and feeding lots of dogs good stuff. It's super exciting and rewarding, and I'm glad you're there to tell everybody about it.
Yeah, well, that's definitely something I pride myself on is, breaking. He's outrageous right now. I apologize for that. He's trying to chew on my finger. I'm gonna bring him up here again, so hopefully I can.
I'm
We
gonna
love
find
you, buddy.
what you need. Hold on.
We love you, buddy. You can say hi to the world. If Jeff and Krista are watching at Pug and Hound in Illinois, this is your godson, and he should be better behaved. So, just throwing that out there. So we talked about. I'm gonna just do some filler here. So we talked about the.
This. You need this.
Oh, is that like the snuffle something?
I don't know. I got it at meat, but you stick toys in here. It takes
Oh,
like forever to
smart.
get to. Yeah.
He actually needs a new. I got him some toys. I was gonna get him a bed for Christmas, but I think he might destroy it when we're gone. So, he needs a new puzzle toy thing because he's too smart for his current one. It only
Well,
takes
this
him
is
like
great because it gets like deep down into these crevices. And then even after that, there's like crumbles in there. So they just go at it forever.
ah. So I have a comment here from Tracy. Says, really enjoyed meeting you and listening to you at the Healthy Dog Expo. That was a really fun trip. Side note about that, that was a funny thing for me because I forgot my shoes. I only had flip flops, and I thought to myself, I need to wear shoes when I present at this conference. So I went to Walmart and bought Velcro shoes, and
They
uh,
stuck for a while.
well, people enjoyed them, but the funny thing was I came home and I said to Emily, I like these. I think these will be my shoes. And she goes, no. And that was the end of that. Um, so we mentioned so we kind of got into the goat milk. So going into the Lewis Golden Paste and Bam's Beats as a concept, I think that that ended up being absolutely incredible for two reasons. Number one, well, two main reasons. There's many reasons, but number one, I think it was really the conglomeration of something you would create and something I would create, and coming together and meeting in the middle and creating something that, you know, the second reason is it's just such a unique and innovative product. And what I mean by that is it's innovative to by itself, but it's even more, it works even better with our blends. So that's something that we had in mind when we actually made it. And so just the idea, and I really believe that when it comes to the microbiome and probiotics, the key to the future here is food-based, wild ferments and innate bacteria. There's a reason why, kids who grow up on farms don't have as much asthma and allergies and things like that, because they're being inoculated with all this wild yeast and bacteria, and bringing that into your dog's bowl is just such a cool concept. And then the something you just mentioned with the feeding of those probiotics with animal biome, looking at those results and saying that uh, dogs that are on raw fed dogs don't have a diverse enough diet, and they don't have a diverse enough plant diet, and what that causes is not enough different varying types of fiber to feed that bacteria. And so we created something that inoculates the gut with all of those differing bacteria. So you get different bacteria every time you use a different pouch in either of those products. And then you feed those bacteria. So it's like a really great 1-2 punch. But then we also don't make things typically that are a one-off. So it's not like, hey, Green Juju made a probiotic. It's like Green Juju made an amazing probiotic, but that probiotic is also an antioxidant. It also contains vitamins and minerals and healthy fibers, and so and that's really what you get through Whole Foods. So just those two products were really like a kind of a dream come true for me in making something really cool. So, and it looks like Julia likes them as well. So okay, hi buddy. So last but not least, we did talk a little bit about the pork pink. I really love what you created in um, the treat line with something that's near and dear to my heart, which is organ meat. And organ meat is by far the healthiest version of meat. Here, I'm going to take this one off because it still says on there about you can tell how good I am at technology here. So organ meat is by far the most nutrient dense part of meat, especially when it comes to liver, especially when it comes to spleen, especially when it comes to kidney, those types of organs. Liver being the most widely available, and milk is the most nutrient diverse food, meaning it has the most, basically, like, when it comes to the fat in milk, it's the most diverse fat of any food. It has, more nutrients in any food. But liver and organ meats are very, very high in things that your dog needs more of. And that most dogs are, I find, especially on raw diets, can even be deficient of, or they're getting them synthetically, like vitamin D, retinol, vitamin A. That's vitamin A that comes from animals. Vitamin K2, which people don't even really think about when it comes to that. And liver is really nature's multivitamin because it's so dense in those things. And so I just think that marrying that with, what we do at Green Juju so well with plants is really cool. And I think that the pork pink is a great cooling option for a lot of animals out there. And yeah, I'm excited about it.
And when we say cooling, for those that aren't familiar with it, it's Chinese medicine energetic cooling. It's good for dogs that, if you have a dog that's always laying on the floor panting or has red ears or inflammation issues or anything like that, they do better with cooling proteins. And pork is one of them. Um, I talk about the pink and how I was so excited about the pink, but the whole premise about all of these freeze dried treats was each of them have a different color because every color has different phytonutrient properties. And that's something that I saw that was missing, that I think is important in nutrition and is not really in pet nutrition. Any way to emphasize these different phytonutrients that help benefit pets in different ways. They're all anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, anti-degenerative. They all have different properties, but we don't really see them much in the pet industry. And so I thought it was kind of a cool way to break them out into different treats paired with different proteins and offer those benefits to our pets.
Well, yeah, and the important thing there too is that we're using whole foods because it's those antioxidants that are better served in food because your body knows how to break down those chemicals in their native environment versus, using a multivitamin, synthetic vitamin A or something like that. And it's also the fact that we just don't know enough to break everything down. It's kind of like, complete and balanced nutrition in general for dogs and cats. We just don't know enough to be 100% certain really of anything. And so that's the best thing we can do is just, feed whole foods and diverse nutrient profiles. And that's really what we're getting there. It looks like Julia just finished Bailey's blend and opened Bam's beets for tomorrow. So thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
So those can be fed together too. Like you can do Bailey's blend and add Bam's beets on top of that.
Exactly. And I think we're going to be doing some more education. And with that, I think that would be a good time to, obviously, we can't say a ton, but I would like to look forward to 2023. And looking back, since I think, have I been with Green Juju like a year and a half?
Yeah.
Maybe about a year and a half. And we've released a lot of products.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's all stuff that we're very, very proud of, and I think that when we release products, for me, the goal here is to make something. One thing I think we both don't ever want to do is just release something to get a piece of uh, that product's money. So we don't look at other products and go, oh, 6 other companies have this thing on the market, so we should release our version of that so we can get some of that. We're trying to make things that make sense, and we want new ideas and to create something that's fresh. And I really think we've done that, and I think people would be very excited to know that about 2023 and to know about we have a lot of really cool things planned. And
I'll just say, like, my nature, I'm rather competitive, but I really don't like doing things that other people are doing. And so it's not even about like taking market share or whatever. It's just, I just want to do something new and different. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it? I also believe there's a lot of people in the industry doing really cool things. And if I think somebody else is doing a great job at something, like, let them be the best at it. I'll do something else. We'll do something else. So I just think yeah, we
that's
like to do different things.
that's funny you say that because that's been true about the entirety of Green Juju.
Yeah.
And I know that to be true because I've known you for a long time, and I knew you during that time. We'd have conversations about those specific types of things. So that is very true. And yeah, I agree. There are some really cool things happening in the industry, and we want to do our part to do our own really cool things. I think that's the greater point here.
I
And
think that's one of the cool things about being such a small company is that like our personalities are the company. You know what I mean? Like we don't just hold job titles that are led to create products or something. It's like how you and I conduct ourselves and how we believe and how we feel about things leads to the products that we create.
that's a good point. And the other thing too is I always tell people there is no bureaucracy of people at Green Juju that are we don't have to go through a corporate board to figure out what we're going to make. It's really just whatever we think is cool and will make a difference in pets' lives and are able to go from there, which is a really great amount of freedom to have for myself. I know I really appreciate that, and I can't wait to tell people stories about some of the things we're working on for 2023 and how those things came about and some of the conversations we had. So that should be really interesting because we're always working on stuff behind the scenes. I'm always thinking about what can we do, and some of that stuff starts in my kitchen and moves up to how you generally make that into something that can go to market and that kind of stuff. And that to me is really exciting. So if you're watching this and you love green juju, get ready for some really exciting things in 2023. We can't say any more than that, but we can at least get you ready for that. And 2023 is really not that far off, so I think people won't have to wait too long in
I
order to
will
get
tell you
that.
that starting bone broth in my kitchen was not a great idea. And my husband has never jumped on anything so fast as building me a commercial kitchen as when I was making bison bone broth 24 hours a day in our like 500 square foot condo.
Yeah, I will say beef and bison bone broth does not smell good when you're making
Waking
it.
up to it in the morning, terrible.
Well, and also like were you doing like stovetop?
No, I was using what are they called? Crock pot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. So, because
It had like the out.
you can use an Instapot.
They didn't have those back then, or did
Yeah.
they?
They might have, but yeah, it was like three. It's like 3.5 hours or something. But what was I gonna say? I totally just lost my train of thought. So that's good.
Oh, sardine broth. That was ambitious.
Yeah, that sounds even worse. I mean, it's very good. It's very good. You did that, Glenda. It's also, I would probably get in
Your pets
trouble
are
if
going to
I was
love
doing
you
that.
for it.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Yeah, uh, for our family, our chicken broth, I used to make it a lot, but now we found a farm that sells it at like it's basically like a self-service store where you just go in and do your own shopping and that kind of stuff. So it's definitely like human broth with onions and stuff like that. But we found it at a cheap enough price to where we're like, it's fine to not make it all the time. Um, so here, Julia says my husband absolutely hates when I make bone broth. We now put it in a crock pot on the porch. So here's what you can do, people. Instead of
People,
smelling, instead of smelling
listen.
up your yeah, that's a deep cut. You can instead of smelling up your house, you can buy some wonderful bison bone broth from Green Juju, and you can buy some wonderful duck bone broth, and you can get some novel proteins into your dog and cat's diet, and you don't have to make it. And our, I was just feeding this dog who's trying to eat my cord. I was just feeding him earlier, and I was marveling at how thick our bison broth is. So that is an amazing product. That was the second product,
Yeah.
was it?
One thing to say on bone broth, not that we're trying to overly sell ourselves, but if you are buying bone broth for your pets, make sure that it's actually for pets. Because if you buy something from the grocery store, it's most likely going to have onions in it, and you don't want to give that to your pets.
That's true. Tasty for the humans, not great for the pets. Um, so with that, I think that is a pretty good place to end this live. So um, for me, I would just like to say to everybody watching, thank you so much for buying our products, for supporting us, for trusting us with your pet's health. It really, really means the world to us. I really, we really do love what we do, and we're going to continue to do that in 2023. If you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to us at info@greenjuju.com, and we are happy to answer any questions you might have. And like I said, it's because of all of you that I get to do what I do in the career that I love. So thank you. And thank you, Kelly, for, trusting me and for bringing me on. Appreciate that.
I'm thrilled to have you. I just want to say I mean, this is like more than a dream come true. We had a meeting yesterday where with a distributor, and we were going over, you know, numbers and just the year in review, and I almost started crying. Like, I just couldn't believe what this has become, and the support that we have from so many people, that you guys trust us with your pets. And it's just, what this started from to what it's become is just blown my mind. And I am just so grateful to have Billy on this team, so grateful to have all of your support. I could have never dreamed this in a million years, and I'm so excited for what's coming next year.
Me too. I wish we could tell people, but um, that's all we got. So everybody have a wonderful holiday season. It's almost Christmas, and whatever you celebrate, I hope it's awesome for you guys. And we will see you soon. So everybody have a good night, and we'll see you live again here in January.
All right. Thank you, guys.